Hello and welcome to week 2 of AC1110 Accounting Fundamentals. Remember that my contact information is down here with the name. My name is Bob Steele. We got the email address right there, and then we have the phone number. We also have office hours on Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and they will be located at a different phone line, which will be a conference call line located here with a conference call number located here. The conference call line is slightly different in that anyone that has taken some of these accounting classes can then call in within that time period. They are simply office hours, so if you cannot make the 6 o'clock time, that is okay. If you want to set up another time, that would be fine too. You'd have to email me and or call me, and we could probably set up a time on this line, as well as using the screen share on either of these methods if we so choose. Screen share is really helpful. Either I can share my screen and work through some problems, and or we can take a look at someone else's screen and see what they're looking at and where problems are happening. So this is going to be an effective method both with myself. If you want to contact Amanda Edwards, there is an announcement in the announcements here that has her contact information. She is also available on Wednesdays on an official time for tutoring time at that time. So go into the discussion forums here, into the course announcements, find that discussion on Amanda Edwards' availability, and I would show up to the Wednesday tutoring for that if you so choose. Also, there's going to be maybe tutoring on a particular campus if you have a particular campus. If you don't have any of that and you want to talk to other students as well, or if you don't have a campus and you want to talk to other students as well, you can use the participants up here and talk to other students or contact other students. And once you do that, you may want to use some other software such as like Skype or something like that, and or there's software that can show your screen. Join Me is another type of software that is free for the most part, or at least to try. And to me, to see each other with cameras is not always as useful, but it is useful to see other people's screens a lot of times when we're working through problems. So if you're just trying to work through problems, it's very nice to be able to see someone else's Connect account and see where their problem or someone else's account in terms of the Excel, and work through problems in that way. So that could be very effective use, and it just basically you can use the phone and or some kind of screen share software in order to do that. Now week 1 is going to be entered into the gradebook as of the end of Tuesday. So the class weeks close on Sunday. I have until Tuesday to enter the grade. So the gradebook is over here. So just as you go through these classes, this is how you basically want to approach the work to make sure you're picking it up. So just for example, in week 1, everything from discussion down is basically a checklist. You want to make sure that you have those done by Sunday. So that as of the end of week 1, under the discussion, we could have checked off that we did the discussion. We could have checked off that we did the assignment, even though it's in Connect. The assignment's in Connect, so you want to check it off here. This assignment is actually in Moodle Rooms. So once again, once you're done, we check it off. I'm sorry, this assignment's in Connect, this assignment's in Moodle Rooms. Then you got the homework. Again, these are both in Connect, but once you're done, you just want to check it off and say that you've done these 2 homeworks. And then the quiz. Again, it's in Connect, but you really want to be in the face of the class and make sure you get it done. Even though the work is done in Connect, this is where you check off to make sure that everything has been completed, even though to see its completion during the week will be here. Then I'm going to enter the grades into the gradebook, and the gradebook for you will be located over on this green icon. So by the end of Tuesday, by basically Tuesday afternoon, probably will be done by then. You can go into this gradebook and it will look something like this, and you'll scroll down. It's by category. So you got discussion, quizzes, and assignments and homework, and everything that's for week 1 in these categories should, if you have completed, have a percentage grade. If you have not completed, it will then have a 0 rather than a dash, indicating that it has either been graded and the grade has been entered, or it has not been done. Any work that has not been done, you want to then go back and do for it. So if you have anything less than full credit, you want to see if you can go back and pick that stuff up. The exception to that rule will generally be the quizzes. Quizzes are going to be due by Sunday. You can't make up the quizzes unless there's an unusual circumstance, in which case you would have to email me. I would take that by a case-by-case basis to see if an extension can be granted. The assignments and much of the other work, on the other hand, will generally be open for late work. You can lose points for the late work, but you can pick that up without basically contacting me. It should be open for late work. So keep that in mind as you go. What that means is that make sure to do the quizzes by Sunday, even if you're not prepared. So because they are multiple choice questions, anything's better than a 0. So you want to do as well as you can on them. But like even if you got like a 10 or 20%, that's still way better than a 0. You want to do as well as you can on them, but do not get a 0 on them. Even a low percent total will be way better than a 0. So I'm going to go back up to the cookie trail up top. This is what I call the cookie trail. This is going to be the face of the course that we are in at this time. I'm going to scroll down to the current week. Oh, also note that if you have any problems with hyperlinks or anything like that, then you might want to go to the website directly. So here's a website where much of the material will be housed. So if you go to this website or even just type it into the URL rather than clicking on it here, it should then open, this being the hyperlink. And much of your videos are going to be housed in this website for some of your accounting classes. So the accounting classes will be listed over here. So if you want to look at future classes, then you can go in here and try to see what's going to happen next a little bit. So I'm working on housing more of the stuff within here. So if you scroll down and you're finding the current class you are in is Accounting Fundamentals. So if you scroll into Accounting Fundamentals, then you'll see the information here. There's the table of contents. These will just basically be links down to the other information. So the PowerPoints and whatnot, you can scroll down here and look at the PowerPoints by clicking on any of these, and it'll take you basically down to the current PowerPoint. So most of the information should be held on this website somewhere. So if you're having any linking problems, you could try to go through here and look at those this way. It might be a little bit faster depending on your connection. All right, now we're going to go down to week 2, the current week that we are in, November 23rd through November 29th. Scrolling down to that, we have the same kind of idea. We have the objectives up here. We've got the topics here. We've got the lesson here. These are all your materials that you can use. This does not represent stuff that you have to do and turn in. This is the informational stuff for you. We're going to be continuing on Chapter 2, which we touched on last time. We're going to spend most of our time on Chapter 2 here. Then we're going to touch on Chapter 3. We're going to continue more on Chapter 3 next time. Your PowerPoints are going to be very similar, some of them to the last time, because you really want to keep on looking at these building blocks as we go and solidify and see how solidified those concepts have been. So I would watch these again each time and say, okay, am I getting these concepts more and more as we go? It could be deceptive to think that you have them down at the beginning, because most of the time we have a pretty, not a very developed idea of what things are. They're just kind of memorized concepts, and then the more we work on this stuff, we can kind of think about things a lot different ways. So just go through these and see if you can see the connection between the accounting equation, the financial statements, the connection between the financial statements, how could the financial statements be used, and how can transactions affect financial statements. We're going to continue on those concepts all the way through pretty much all of the accounting classes. Under the discussion forums on down, this is where the information happens. So you want to go through this information, check off, remember that you have then done this stuff. So everything from the discussions down, you want to say, okay, I did the discussion, check it off. I did the assignment, it's in Connect, that's okay, I'm still going to check it off here. When you do the Moodle Rooms assignment, you turn that in here. You want to check that off once you're done. And then quizzes and midterm, again, you're going to check that off here that you have done that. And the homework, for some reason, is under the quiz right now, I'm not sure, but you want to make sure that you do the homework and check that off as you go as well. So this is where you want to see that you have done the work, even though most of the work will be done within Connect. So remember that the discussion forums are worth 21% of the grade. How I would approach these classes, all classes, is that you want to pick up 100% of the discussion forum posts. Why? Because they're the easiest thing to pick up, even though I know they are time consuming. You have the most control over them. So do get 100% on that. Then you want to pick up as many points as possible on the assignment and the homework. Why? Because you have a lot of resources to pick up points on those. So even if you do not get full credit on them, or you can't finish the whole thing because they're long problems, you should have a lot of resources to pick up a lot of points on those and pick up as many points as possible, thereby going into the quizzes, which are oftentimes the hardest thing and the thing that you have the least amount of control over, with a fairly large cushion, so that if you do not do as well as you plan, then you'll have a lot of points to pick you up. So once again, you should be going into the quiz with a very large cushion if you got full credit here, full credit or close to it here and here. So that's how you would approach it. Then when you take the quiz, make sure you take it, do not get a 0 on the quiz, and do as well as you can on those. So that being said, the discussion forum's worth 21% of the grade. How do you pick that up? You post a minimum of 4 posts. Remember that the posts accumulate in nature, so more posts can only help, they cannot harm. And once you accumulate full credit, then you'll receive full credit on the post, and any other posts will not help, but again, they won't harm. So the grade accumulates upward. 4 is the minimum to achieve full credit. If you cannot achieve full credit within 4 posts, that just means you need to post more and or post longer posts. That's why I would advise you post like 6 or 7 posts until you get used to, 1, the discussion forums in general, and 2, how the instructor grades the discussion forums, because they are somewhat subjective. So make sure to do that. Obviously, you'll note at this point in time that I'm going to put a lot more questions in there. Why do I put a lot of questions in there? Because I want to make sure that there's enough material for everybody to get full credit on the discussion by posting a minimum of 4 posts, more like 6 posts, in order to make sure to pick those points up. And so don't feel obligated to answer every question or feel totally overwhelmed by the number of questions. Use the questions for study, use the questions to converse with others, and of course use the questions to make sure to pick up the 21% of the grade. This assignment is going to be in Connect, so once you do it in Connect, you want to check it off. The assignment will be in Connect. It's in week 2. So if you take a look at week 2, this is the longer assignment. You might want to do the homeworks first, actually, but this is going to be the longer assignment. Remember that you have this paperclip, which will contain, I believe, a video and a worksheet to do this assignment. So when you look at this assignment, you might go, wow, that's a long assignment, and I'm intimidated by it. But just remember that if you look at the paperclip, you do not have to turn this paperclip in. You do not have to turn the Excel sheet in for this paperclip. You need to use it in order to help you complete this assignment. You need to watch the videos and or use the example problem and or work the example problem so that you can then input this information into this assignment in such a way that you can then check your work and see what you have correct or wrong as you go, and then submit it. And you could work it again if you wanted to work it again. If you do work it again, however, the numbers will change. So keep that in mind. Let me know if you got any questions on those. Going back to Moodle Rooms here. If we then move down to the Moodle Rooms, this one needs to be turned in Moodle Rooms. So you need to click on this assignment, and you'll then download the item here and submit it. There'll be a submit button here when the week starts. There is a copy on the paperclip. So if I go back to Connect and I look at this paperclip, there is also a Excel sheet which will be the same Excel sheet here. Just remember that I only put it here so that people who are not checking it off on Moodle Rooms that they have completed work do not miss this assignment. So just make sure that you can upload it to Connect, but it won't be graded there. It's only here so that you see the assignment and know that you need to upload it to Moodle Rooms. So I know that's a little confusing, but just remember that once you complete this Excel sheet, then you want to go back to Moodle Rooms and you want to upload it here. And I'm going to go back to the cookie trail up top here. Now, if you haven't done that for week 1, if you uploaded it to Connect by accident, I won't mark off for that because we're trying to get used to this system. Just in week 1, there's a Moodle Rooms assignment, upload it here, not to Connect, and I'll update the grades. The homework, I'm going to skip the quiz and go to the homework first. Once again, those are in Connect. Once you complete them, check them off in Moodle Rooms. You're going to go, okay, I did those. They are going to be located in Connect, and they're going to be these 2. So we're going to spend a lot of time on week 2 is really where the quiz is going to focus on, and then we're going to introduce into week 3, and then you'll do week 3 next time. So you want to really do week 2 again, and then that'll help you out for the assignment and help you out for the quiz. Going back to Moodle Rooms, once you do that, you check this off, done that. Then you go to the quiz, of course, and the quiz will be in Connect. Once you do it, you can check it off. Go back to the quiz, take the quiz. Remember, the quiz is due by Sunday. Make sure to take it by Sunday. Unless there's an unusual circumstance, you will not be able to make it up. If there is an unusual circumstance, let me know by email. I'll take it by a case-by-case basis to open that. Otherwise, make sure to do this by Sunday. The assignments, on the other hand, will be open for late work for partial credit after that date. Going back to the cookie trail up here. So then you want to check that off, and that's going to be it for basically week 2. So have a great week 2.